It's time to take a deeper dive into the prospects for campaign season in Texas. For perspective, we're joined by Summer Wise, a member of the State Executive Committee for the Republican Party, and Manny Garcia, the Executive Director for Texas Democrats. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So, Summer, let's start with you. There's about 6 to 8 other congressional districts that are competitive. Most of them are held by Republicans. Do you think that they have done the job, their job, to be reelected?
I think so, yeah. We're seeing some good examples of leadership and good policies that have been enacted, and we're seeing the results. And you know, you can't argue with success. Here in Austin, we have less than a 3% unemployment rate. The economy is booming, and I think prospects look good all around the state and the country.
Democrats picked up 2 last time, 1 in Dallas, 1 in Houston. Do you have hopes of getting those back, or are those gone for the Democrats forever?
We're very optimistic for 2020. I think with this being a presidential election and Trump's popularity and the success of his policies and the prosperity that we're seeing across the country, that's going to lead to a greater turnout, and I think that's going to really help out the candidates down the ballot.
Now, Manny, I'm sure you think that you can take back some of these Republican seats, but on a statewide level, there still are more Republican voters than Democrats. And what do you think will be different this year? Why will it be different, in your opinion?
Look, it's becoming very clear that Texas is the biggest battleground state in the country. Poll after poll after poll has shown it. And when we're looking at the targets, we're just 9 seats away from flipping the Texas House. There are more than 18 seats within single digits. There are more than 10 congressional districts that are on the target list. 6 already, the National Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee has talked about them. We have a U.S. Senate race that is already within the margin of error. And when you ask Texans whether or not they would vote for Donald Trump, 60% of independents already say hell no. And it's already a toss-up race.
Now, but to Summer's point, I mean, the economy is good right now. Don't most people vote with their pocketbooks?
I think most people want to know what people are doing to make sure that they change their daily lives. Are you getting health care done? And what we've seen on the health care front is both the Texas State Legislature and Congress is incapable of doing anything. Are you creating solutions for immigration so that you're not separating families, so that you're not putting kids in cages in Texas, and the administration refuses to do anything positively, and in fact is doing something real cruel that Texans do not stand for. So when it comes to issue by issue, Texans are siding with the Democratic Party.
As Summer, so many of these seats will turn based on the top of the ticket. Do these closer poll numbers for President Trump worry you at all?
You know, I think we saw last election in 2016 that Trump defies the odds, and that you can't rely on polling information to predict the outcome of an election when Donald Trump is on the top of the ticket. So I don't think we're too worried about polling or the information that the pundits are giving us. What Texans see is that they're doing well, they're prospering, and they're thriving in this economy, and we're seeing people flocking to the state in droves. Over 1,000 people a day are coming to Texas, and so we're seeing it in the results. We're seeing it in our lives every day that we're all doing well, and I think that's going to be reflected in the election outcome in 2020.
And Manny, the state Republican leaders seem to be pretty popular. I guess Governor Abbott in particular has I think about 60% approval rating, and they just left the legislative session where they did do school finance reform and they did do major property tax reform. I mean, won't Texas voters look at those results and say that the Texas Republican Party could be separate or different from the Nationals?
I think what they saw is that when more Democrats were in the building, 12 seats picked up in 2016, the most since Reconstruction, that the conversation in the Texas legislature completely changed. Finally, there was movement on public school finance reform. Finally, there was movement and there was change in the tone and tenor of what the legislature took on, and that's because more Democrats were in the building. When you're seeing this change in the state, we really appreciate all the new Texans that are coming to the state. From 2014 to 2018, that was 1.8 million new Texans added to the voter registration rolls. That's like the entire voting age population of New Mexico. And there were majority women and majority people of color, people who are inclined to vote for the Democratic Party.
Manny, Summer, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you again for joining us for State of Texas. I'm Phil Prazen. We'll be back next week to bring you an in-depth look at Texas politics.